from our appointment. I was a little bit delayed on my last video posting because of everything with our trip to Houston and whatnot. But we went today, Monday the 17th, to see the physician. We actually got to see him. My husband was able to go with me because we had such a crazy weekend that he kind of had to go with me. Either way, it was a long line to get out of Mexico because I guess it was a holiday weekend and a lot of people were in town. The question that we asked today that I feel like is important to touch on before I get into my details for those interested in watching for themselves is I asked today what was the 2900 covering exactly and how many attempts, you know, for what if we're unsuccessful, you know. So basically my medications have cost what they've cost because that's what my body needed. So medications, I think, as far as what I've spent so far, our medications will vary what you physically need versus what I needed. Also, the 2900, it's for the egg retrieval. It's for, you know, the sedation. It basically includes from beginning to end when the embryo is transferred back. Also, I asked him, is that for one attempt? Is that for several attempts? What's the 2900 cover as far as that? So what he told us is that it covers one attempt. He'll transfer 2 embryos and it'll cover the one attempt. And basically, if we want to try again, we can for half off. So I imagine what, like 14 something, 1400, 1350. I don't know, I haven't done the math. But you do the math. 2900 divided by 2. That's what it would cost if we went back, of course, just for the actual in vitro part of it, not to include medications, visits, consultations, ultrasounds, labs, etc., etc. What he tells me is if it's unsuccessful once, it's half off the second time, and every time after then it would be $500. I also had the time again to ask if they did like sex selection. He said it's not a service they offer there. I guess whatever I read online was wrong, or maybe they discontinued the service. He said they recommend you over to a lab that would be willing to do it. But he said it's not always guaranteed and that he doesn't really, it's not in his practice to do it. Which in previous videos I mentioned that we wanted to ask just to know, but is it a big deal, to be honest with you? As long as we have a healthy child, it could be a boy or girl and we'd be just as blessed. For myself today, my eggs, I don't know how many I have. There's my dog. I don't know how many I have. I have plenty, I imagine. I can't tell you how many eggs or follicles I saw, but they're big enough. I mean, I read something online where they have to be like 16 to 22 millimeters, and I have the majority of them in that range. I have some up to 30s and 40s size wise, so that's good. So I'll keep you posted as to how many were retrieved because I was told I'd know before I left. So I have to be there by 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And we're going to be doing the retrieval then. What he tells me, and it was like kind of my 3 to 5 days of when they decide to do, where they do the transfer. So basically their method is if there's plenty of eggs and they're surviving through day 3, then we'll go on to day 5. Because what I read, and again researching, what I read is 5-day transfers are more likely to stick than one that's a 3-day. Not that it wouldn't, but it's just better. What he tells me is if we have plenty of eggs on day 3, then we'll continue on to day 5. What he also tells me is, of course, we're going to be transferring 2 embryos, and whatever else we have left over, we're kind of undecided if we want to have more. We'll freeze if we have any left over. And basically what he told me the fees for that are, it's kind of like the specimen for my husband was for the sperm, It's $150 a year. But he's like, really and truly, we don't charge you for it right away since you're incurring so many expenses. But he's like, if you come back, let's say in a year or in 2 years, we'll charge you not the year you left it, we'll give you the year, but we'll charge you, I don't know if you come in 2 years, we'll charge you for 1 year $150. Then we'll get your specimen and we'll go ahead and you won't have to do the medications again. What you'll do is just do the transfer, and you know, that sounds great. So we're probably, I mean, God only knows what we'll have, but we're probably going to decide to freeze if we have any embryos left, just in case we decide we do want up the road more children. But for right now, we just thought it was a nice way to be able to ensure that we don't have to go through all this process. I will touch on the fact that I've been miserable. I've been really, really tired. I've been just had different symptoms, probably like most pregnant women do. So I tell my husband I'm like the worst not pregnant person because I have every symptom. My stomach's really bloated now too, which I heard from a lot of people that that's one of the things that does happen. I have been very like hypersensitive. I already have a lot of acid reflux. So I've been hypersensitive to, like, my husband's like, no spicy food, you know, keeping everything away from me. But even avoiding it, there's things like that you can't help. Like there's tomatoes and stuff. I'm Mexican, so I had mole, which I was like, yeah, really, it's not that spicy. It affected me. So, I mean, just different things that it's a bummer. But otherwise, I'm triggered this evening. I'm super excited. My husband and I, he's kind of like, I can't believe it's happening. You know, it's happened so quickly after, you know, years and years of talking about it, to move on it and move so quickly. And it seems things are going well. Also, a kind of a side note for the physician, he seemed to give more time since I had my husband with me to answer his questions than I ever got through the whole process, which it felt good. But it just makes me think of, you know, how it is whenever you are in another country where, you know, you're not the dominant sex. I don't know. That's just been my experience since I've moved here to the valley to do this. I've experienced, I'm from the big city, I'm from Houston. In Houston, you know, women, we're no different than men. Women, we can do everything, and it's no different here. I can still do all the things I can do, but for whatever reason, I've noticed being here that a lot of these men treat a woman as though we're kind of incapable or unknowledgeable. And I'm like, I've been fending for myself and doing everything on my own. I can do business. I can work for myself. I have a career. You know, different things. So either way, had more one-on-one time with the physician. He actually did my ultrasound. He sat down with us and he talked to me and my husband. He made sure he answered every question for us. And so I don't know if it was the presence of a male that made it more like, yeah, this is, let's give him some time. So not the greatest to have to say that, but let's be honest, it's the truth. Again, I'm sharing my honest opinions. These are not facts. This is what what I've noticed at my visits. Anyway, so wish me luck. I'm preparing everything for Wednesday, and I'm actually, if I'm honest, I'd rather do a Monday transfer. As much as I'm in a hurry, because I'm excited, as much as I'm in a hurry, I'd hope my eggs last till Monday, that they're of good quality, maybe not quantity, but really good quality eggs that can make it through then. And I'll keep you guys posted. I'm not sure how I will be feeling that day, but because my husband works out of town a lot, I'm only able to do these videos on my own, and most of my time with him is like, I just want to just take advantage of it as much as possible. Anyhow, thank y'all for watching, and I'll add on here my ultrasound for today that shows some of the measurements. And thank you. God bless you guys.
Beep.